shift your energy to where it matters. Most every morning, the world resets. The sun rises without bias, casting its light on kings and beggars alike. Time begins again, unfolding its quiet, invisible gift. 24 hours. No more, no less. It doesn't matter who you are. Your wealth doesn't buy you more hours. Your status doesn't extend your day. No one is given extra minutes because they're admired. No one is spared fatigue because they're talented. We all begin the day the same way, with a limited reservoir of energy, a finite well of mental clarity, a fragile spark of willpower. And how we spend that energy, that's what separates the day we waste from the day we build. You see, energy is like currency. You can spend it deliberately or throw it away unconsciously. You can invest it in things that grow you, or lose it in distractions that drain you. Dear friend, share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Turn on notifications, so you never miss an update that shows you are Divine One. This isn't just another video for the feed, but another piece of content to scroll you share. This was made for someone like you in mind, someone who's tired, maybe not in body, but in spirit. Someone who needs to hear that their quiet strength matters, even when it's unseen. Some pour it into gratitude, learning, self-discipline, and meaningful action. Others lose it arguing with strangers, scrolling endlessly, overthinking things they cannot change. Focus, too, is limited. Your mind can't be everywhere and still be sharp. Like sunlight through a magnifying glass, focus only becomes powerful when it's directed. And willpower? Willpower fades like daylight. It begins full, then steadily declines. The more decisions you make, the more temptations you resist, the more mental clutter you carry, the faster it runs dry. So, no, the game of life is not about who has more hours. It's about who uses their hours more wisely. Not who works the longest, but who channels their energy into what actually matters. Because the truth is simple. The strongest among us aren't those who never tire. They are the ones who learn how to protect their time, guard their focus, renew their energy, and direct their will. That's where greatness is shaped, not in having more, but in managing better. Not in adding hours, but in elevating your choices within them. What truly separates those who burn out from those who build up isn't the number of hours in the day or some secret stash of superhuman energy. It's not luck, it's not talent, it's not hustle, it's focus, it's direction, it's discernment. Because the truth is, most people aren't tired from life. They're tired from leaking energy into everything that doesn't serve them. It's not the work that breaks them. It's the worrying. It's not the responsibility that drowns them. It's the overthinking, the replaying, the trying to control every outcome, every person, every detail. They're not overwhelmed because they're weak. They're overwhelmed because their energy is being scattered, not stewarded. They waste it, worrying about how they're perceived by people who don't truly see them, trying to fix problems that aren't even theirs to carry, fighting for validation in spaces that demand they shrink to fit in, arguing in circles, defending their worth, comparing their journey to someone else's highlight reel, chasing applause, chasing closure, chasing peace in places that only ever gave them noise. And slowly, quietly, they become tired. Not physically, but soul deep, tired in the way that feels like erosion, like something precious is wearing away inside them. A short story. The Two Buckets. There's an old story about two villagers who carried water from the river each morning. Both used large wooden buckets, and both walked the same path home every day. But while one returned each day with a full container, the other arrived with less water than he started with. One day, the second villager stopped and looked at his bucket. It was riddled with tiny cracks. "Every step I take," he said, "the water slowly leaks out. By the time I reach home, I've got nothing left." The first villager nodded quietly and then said, "Fix the bucket, not the river." This is what most people miss. They think the world needs to change, that people need to treat them better, that life needs to slow down or become more fair. They blame the chaos of the river, when all along, the cracks are internal. It's where their attention goes, where they give away their energy without boundaries, where they let noise in and let clarity drain out. If your energy is your water, your source of clarity, will, and strength, then where you place that energy determines everything. You can't control the length of the path. You can't control the flow of the river. But you can control your container, your choices, your boundaries, your focus. So here's the truth, brutal and freeing. You won't get. It will come from mastering where you place your energy and how you respond when the wind begins to howl. That is real power. You cannot command the wind, the monk had said, but you can learn to aim in it. At the time, the young archer had frowned. His pride was wounded, his ego louder than his understanding. The words seemed vague, almost evasive. What use were they to someone who had trained so hard, only to be undone by a gust of air? But time, as it always does, softened him. Years passed. He grew older, quieter, perhaps a little wiser. Life had shown him many wins, unpredictable setbacks, sudden losses, dreams that slipped through his fingers, people who left, doors that didn't open, moments where everything he thought he could count on moved. And that's when he began to understand. The monk's words were not about archery, they were about everything. You see, you can't control the wind. You can't control the economy. You can't control people's opinions. You can't control how others treat you, how the world shifts, or how life surprises you. There will always be external forces that blow through your carefully made plans. Winds that arrive without warning, without reason, without your permission. And if your peace is tied to the weather, you will never know peace. But what you can control is your aim. You can control the direction you choose to focus your life. You can adjust your posture, steady your breath, and shoot again, no matter how fiercely the winds blow. You can choose how much effort you give, how clearly you think, how deeply you breathe. You can control your attitude, your presence, your emotional balance. And over time, you learn that this, not the world, is where your real strength lives. Because the goal isn't to silence the wind, it's to become so anchored, so aligned, so intentional, that even in chaos, you move with clarity. That even when things don't go according to plan, you don't lose your sense of self. That even when the wind changes, you don't throw away the bow. You adjust your aim. So, no, you may never command the wind, but you can rise with it. You can move in spite of it. You can even grow because of it. That is your power. That is your responsibility. That is where your energy belongs. Not in chasing control over what will never obey you, but in mastering the one thing that always will. You. What steals your energy? Take a moment. Breathe. Now look closely. Not at the world, not at others, but at yourself. Ask yourself, where does your energy go each day? Not just your time, but your mental bandwidth, your emotional fire, your focus, the core of what makes you you. We like to believe we're tired because of the work we do, or the hours we keep, or the goals we're chasing. But look deeper. It's not always the work that exhausts you. It's the noise you carry in your mind. How many hours have you spent replaying old conversations, trying to rewrite the past with words you wish you had said? ruminating over glances, texts, or tones that others forgot, but you keep holding on to like emotional debt. Worrying about what might happen, spinning scenarios in your head that haven't come true, and may never. It's not the doing that burns us out. It's the dwelling. It's the inner world we never clean. The constant mental rehearsals, the imaginary arguments, the hypervigilance about what others think, the obsession with how it could have gone differently. That's what steals your flame. You wake up physically rested, but emotionally depleted, because your mind ran a marathon while your body slept. A short story. The pebbles in the pack. There's a story told of a young traveler who set out to climb a mountain. She packed light, or so she thought. Only the essentials: food, water, a map, and a few small stones from home, for sentiment. But as she walked, she found more stones. She picked up a pebble of regret from something she said years ago. She tucked in a rock of worry about what her parents thought of her. She added a stone of comparison, someone else's success that made her feel behind. Each thought, each emotion, seemed small on its own. But over time, her bag grew heavier. The weight slowed her steps, her energy faded. Eventually, she sat down, exhausted, far from the peak. A wandering hermit passed by and asked, "Why do you carry so much?" "These are just small things," she replied. "Memories, fears, what-ifs. They're not much." The hermit smiled gently. "It's not the size of what you carry," he said. "It's how long you've carried it." And so it is with us. We carry the weight of what-ifs. We drag around the fears of tomorrow and the regrets of yesterday. We overthink. We overreact. We overanalyze. Until all that over becomes underperformance, under peace, under joy, under alignment. This is the silent thief, the killer of momentum, the slow erosion of your clarity. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have been made of fire." Not a dramatic overhaul, not a distant plan. A deliberate return to the place where your strength actually lives. Your attention, your choices, your energy. Begin the return. So here's the invitation. Here's the call back to center. Reclaim your energy. Not next month. Not after things calm down. Not when you're less tired, or more validated, or fully healed. Now. Because waiting for peace to arrive is the most clever form of procrastination. Peace isn't a package delivered. It's something you create by subtracting what no longer deserves your power. Ask yourself, but honestly, where is my attention going? Not where I wish it was going. Not where it looks like it's going on the surface. But truly, where does my mind wander when no one's watching? Is it spiraling through imaginary arguments? Is it stuck in stories about how things should have gone? Is it chasing someone's approval or a future that doesn't exist yet? Am I investing energy into complaints or into solutions? Every complaint is a drain. It takes from you, never returns. But every solution, no matter how small, is an act of creation. You don't have to solve everything, but you must stop feeding what disempowers you. Am I giving energy to people who drain me, or to habits that build me? Some people are anchors dressed like lifeboats. Some environments look safe, but only keep you small. Your job isn't to fix them. Your job is to stop handing over your light to people who only add to your darkness. Give that time, that energy, to the habits that forge your resilience, to the routines that align you with who you want to be, to the practices that refill, not deplete. Am I losing myself in distractions, or finding myself in direction? Scrolling, numbing, escaping. They feel like rest, but they are slow erasure. True rest renews you. Distraction delays you. Direction, that grounds you. Because when you're in alignment, even small steps feel purposeful. Even silence feels full. Final thought. Own the shift. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need a new morning routine or a 10-step reset. You just need to decide. Decide that your energy is too valuable to be given away mindlessly. Decide to stop feeding the wrong fires. Decide to shift. Today, now, in this moment, back into the life you are actually meant to be living. Because you don't get your power back all at once. You reclaim it one choice at a time. One no to what drains. One yes to what builds. One moment of clarity in the storm of noise. Shift it back. Gently. Boldly. Relentlessly. Back to the only place where your energy has meaning. The present. The purposeful. The true. Where your energy lives. Your life doesn't move by accident. It moves in the direction of your energy. And your energy, whether you realize it or not, follows the quiet trail of your focus. Where your mind lingers, your spirit leans. Where your attention settles, your emotions deepen. Where your focus lives, your life slowly begins to take shape. It's not some grand, single decision that defines your destiny. It's where you place your energy, minute by minute, hour by hour, choice by choice. Like water finding its path down a mountain, your energy carves the shape of your life. So if you want to shift your life, you must begin by reclaiming what fuels it. Shift your energy. Not forcefully, not with shame, but with awareness. Shift your energy from proving yourself to improving yourself. Because one is rooted in fear. The fear of not being enough, of being unseen, of being unloved unless you perform. But the other, improving. One day, a young villager asked, "Why don't you respond? Why don't you fight him off?" And the firekeeper replied, "If I feed this fire with anger, it will flare and die. But if I feed it with care, it will warm this village long after the noise fades." The boy didn't fully understand, but years later, when the firekeeper had passed and the boy took his place, he remembered those words and kept the flame alive. The lesson in the flame. And just like that firekeeper, you too are the guardian of your flame, your energy, your clarity, your dignity. And every single day, there will be thieves trying to steal it. People projecting their pain onto you. Circumstances outside your control trying to provoke panic. Insecurities disguised as criticism. Delays and detours testing your resolve. You don't always get to choose what shows up, but you always choose what you give your energy to. Will you let someone's chaos pull you out of character? Will you throw emotional fuel on problems you can't fix? Will you set fire to your inner peace just to win an argument not worth having? Or will you step back, breathe, and tend to your flame with purpose? Fire is power, but only when controlled fire, like your energy, is neither good nor bad. It simply amplifies what it's given. When you waste it on trivial battles, you shrink. When you invest it in growth, you expand. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "A fire is never satisfied. If you feed it recklessly, it consumes the house. But if you direct it, it will warm the world. So direct it. Save your fire for the work that builds you. The people who honor your spirit. The dreams that take quiet, focused strength to bring to life. Don't light your flame just to be seen. Don't let it rage just to react. Use it wisely, and it will carry you through any storm. Choose your fire's purpose. So when the day unravels, when someone misunderstands you, attacks you, or tries to draw you into chaos, pause. Return to the fire within, and ask yourself, is this worth my flame? Because your anger is expensive, your peace is powerful, and your fire is not something to be wasted on those trying to drag you down. Protect it, preserve it, and let it burn where it builds. Stop wasting energy where it doesn't belong. You can spend your life constantly reacting to every change in the weather, to every opinion tossed at you like a stone, to every inconvenience, interruption, or imperfection that dares to challenge your comfort. You can spend your precious, irreplaceable energy trying to control the uncontrollable, trying to fix what was never yours to carry, trying to make everything just right before you give yourself permission to breathe. Or you can stop. You can stop reacting to every ripple and start becoming the kind of person who no longer needs to, the kind of person who doesn't need applause to feel worthy, who doesn't need agreement to feel secure, who doesn't fall apart just because life didn't follow the script. Learn to let go of the illusion. The truth is harsh, but liberating. You will never control everything. You won't always be liked. People will misunderstand you. Situations will change without warning. Not every door will open. Not every effort will bloom. And no amount of worrying, arguing, or overthinking will change that. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Because true power isn't found in controlling life. It's found in controlling how you meet it. The strongest people are not those who bend the world to their will, but those who bend themselves with grace. Become rooted. So the work, then, is not external. The real work is internal. Become the kind of person who is centered instead of scattered, who is anchored instead of reactive, who responds not out of emotion, but out of principle. Someone who doesn't need to prove themselves. Someone who doesn't hand over their peace to every passing irritation. Someone who doesn't collapse every time the wind shifts. The person who is grounded in their values isn't shaken by the noise of the moment. Water the roots, not the weeds. And this is the deepest discipline. Not to fight every battle, but to choose your battle wisely. Not to pour energy into every emotion, but to channel it toward what matters. Some people spend their whole lives watering weeds. They feed their fears, then wonder why they feel so small. They nourish resentment, then wonder why they feel so heavy. They give hours to worry, days to doubt, and years to chasing things that never loved them back. But the wise water the roots. They don't feed what drains them. They feed what grows them. They invest in their character. They build their habits, even in silence. They nurture a vision, even if no one claps. They stay consistent, especially when no one is watching. Because they understand that real growth isn't loud. It happens quietly in the roots, in the unseen choices, in the ordinary moments, in the refusal to be distracted by what doesn't matter. The power of redirected energy. So here's your power. Stop giving your fire to battles that don't matter. Stop spending your strength reacting to every unexpected wind. And start redirecting that energy into becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to react at all. Because the calmest person in the room isn't empty. They're full of focus, of purpose, of clarity. They are not easily shaken, not because the world is easy, but because they've made peace with what they cannot control. Their energy goes not to their fears, but to their future. Not to noise, but to vision. What you do control is everything. You don't control everything. You don't control the economy. You don't control traffic. You don't control what others say behind your back, or the unexpected turns life decides to take when you thought the road was finally clear. You can't stop the storms. You can't predict every outcome. And you definitely can't guarantee how the world will respond to your efforts, no matter how much heart you pour into them. But let's not confuse limitations with helplessness, because while you may not control the chaos around you, you do control something far more powerful. You control where you place your focus. You control how much effort you give. You control how you show up, especially when it's hardest to do so. That is not a small thing. That is everything. The power of inner direction. Most people burn themselves out trying to change what they were never meant to carry. They pour their energy into trying to fix people who don't want to be fixed, chasing outcomes they can't command, and fighting the wind instead of learning how to sail through it. But the wise, they redirect their energy. They don't scatter their fire trying to light every cold corner of the world. They tend to their own flame. They protect their peace, not out of selfishness, but out of sacred responsibility. Because they've learned, you are not responsible for the storm, but you are responsible for your stance within it. The calm is not found, it's built. And here's the shift. The moment you stop trying to control the uncontrollable and begin to pour yourself into what is within your domain, you change everything. You stop being tossed like a leaf in the wind. You stop living on edge, waiting for the world to calm down before you finally can. You stop reacting to life as a victim of it, and you begin becoming the calm within the storm. Not because the noise has disappeared, but because you've stopped feeding it. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger, more intentional, more rooted. And that shift, that's where transformation begins. The still point in a turning world, T.S. Eliot once wrote, "At the still point of the turning world, there the dance is." That still point, the place of unwavering calm while everything else turns, is inside you. It's built each time you choose clarity over chaos, focus over distraction, effort over excuse. So, no, you don't control the storm, but you can become the one who doesn't flinch when it arrives, the one who keeps their hand steady on the wheel, the one who chooses presence when